What are laws of thermodynamics? It is impossible to understand thermodynamics. Well, technically this is correct, so let's get confused. The laws of thermodynamics are sets of rules that pretty much everyone in science community agrees on. It's almost like the final answer. When you were asked many questions and you don't want to answer, just say, it's the law, and pretty much everyone just stop asking you, okay? So the first law of thermodynamics postulates that a system contains energy. So it's introduced the concept of energy, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So I saw this sign a couple years ago. It asked me to save energy. Okay, that was a nice thing to do. But I'm sorry, this is wrong. Thermodynamics says that energy cannot be destroyed. So energy doesn't need saving. Okay, so that's kind of weird, right? So this leads into the second law of thermodynamics. So when you were asked to save energy, it wasn't about saving energy. It's about saving the quality of energy, right? So for example, when you use electrical appliance, like when you use air conditioner, you convert a good quality energy like electricity into heat, essentially, right? So you turn a high quality energy into lower energy. The second law of thermodynamics also says that, anything that you do in this universe will lower the quality of energy. So that's why if you were asked to save energy, meaning that you don't use anything, just don't use it, means saving the quality of energy. So the technically correct thing to say would be no more entropy, not saving energy. But that wouldn't make sense to anybody, right? Okay, so we'll learn about this more later on when we talked about entropy in more details, okay? The third law of thermodynamics, it defines the reference with the best quality energy. So I'll just give you a hint. That means the zero entropy. So if it doesn't make sense right now, don't worry. But it creates the reference point where the system had zero entropy, and that makes it so that you have entropy as the absolute value, not just the change of value. Okay. There is another way to look at the laws of thermodynamics. So I captured this from one of the YouTube comments. So the first law says that you cannot win. The second law says that you cannot break even except on a very cold day. The third law says that it never gets that cold, and there's actually a zeroth law saying that you cannot quit the game. Okay, let's talk about it, right? The first law says that you cannot win. So let's imagine you have a car and you want to, just create energy out of thin air to power your car. So the first law just say, no, you cannot create energy. You cannot win like that. Okay, so sorry, this is not true. Okay, you cannot create energy. So that's fine, right? We all know that you need to put gasoline into the car to make it work. So let's talk about the car engine. So the car engine is a device that converts the chemical energy in the fuel into mechanical energy that drives the car. Okay? So the best scenario would be for the car engine to be 100% efficient. This means that it takes 100% of the energy input to drive the car. But the second law was just saying that you cannot break even. So that means that the car engine will never be 100% efficient. So it cannot take 100% of the energy input to drive the car. You have to waste energy as heat. And in fact, do you know that the car engine is typically less than 50% efficient, meaning that more than half of the energy input is actually wasted. But there is a catch though. The second law kind of implies that if you have the outside temperature to be really cold to 0 Kelvin, you can have the efficiency of the engine to be 100%. So the heat engine can be 100% efficient at 0 Kelvin. So that's still hope, right? But the third law comes in and just break all the hope. The third law just says that you will never get to 0 Kelvin. So it's pretty depressing so far for the laws of thermodynamics, okay? Lastly, there's something called the zeroth law of thermodynamics. I'll talk about this in a separate video, but in a sense, the zeroth law just saying that there is something called thermal equilibrium, and you kind of have to accept it. So that means that you cannot quit the game. So that is the introduction to the laws of thermodynamics. So you will learn about it much more in detail later in the courses. And no, you cannot escape it. It's in the exam. See you later.